I want to switch gears a little bit because I get this question. So, we work with candidates across the U.S. and Canada, and someone had made the comment to me. I'm not going to name brand or the person. I keep everything confidential, but they came back and said, you know what? If the brand is so strong and doing so well, why franchise? Why not just have corporate locations? So we talked about the differences from owning those corporate locations, the differences, basically the different ways of expanding from licensing to franchising. If you're okay sharing, would you mind sharing why you chose the path of franchising? Because I think that'll be super helpful in telling that story.
Yeah, absolutely. So it kind of dates back to about 2013 when I first started thinking about franchising. And I had this list, like we said, and it was really, I'm an opportunist, right? I love business. I love the hustle. I love figuring things out. I'm passionate about Taste Buds Kitchen. And so I keep trying to make the next right step. But I was at a point in my career and journey where I'd figured out the revenue streams. I figured out how to run this business. I'd done the hard and scrappy. And I was like, okay, what's next? So one option was corporate expansion, either in New York City or, beyond. And the other option in the back of my head was, hey, I have this spreadsheet of 120 people who have reached out and asked me, either they've been to the kitchen or they emailed and they read about us in press or otherwise, would I teach them how to open a Taste Buds Kitchen? And I was like, well, that sounds like franchising. What is this? Right. So I literally read Franchising for Dummies. I went out on this epic search. I always like to learn, right? So I'm just soaking up all the information I can to figure out. And I ultimately got excited. I didn't even think about licensing. I knew that was not for me, right? I want to do it the TBK way, whether that's me doing it myself or whether that's doing it franchising. And I ultimately got excited about the growth path of partnering with like-minded people all across the country to bring this to life. And I knew I myself could not do that in 10 years. I couldn't have, right? I could not have this many locations. I didn't have the capital for it. I didn't have the know-how to do the corporate expansion. Nor was it my sweet spot. I really got excited about franchising as a way to let's meet people all over who are smart, passionate, business-driven, like the kitchen, like kids' food, right? Want to be around this, value this in their own homes, have the capital to do it in great markets. And let's partner together to give them the business model and have them execute on it. So really it was just research and getting excited about that. And then again, dog with the bone, I have an idea and I want to be the absolute best at it that I can be. Right. I want to figure it out. I tell everyone, I did not set out to be a franchisor. It was not in my 10-year-old dream.
It happened, right? It just kind of worked its way in.
It really did. And now, I'm 12 years in, trying to be the best franchisor that I can be. We learn every year, trying to keep up our HQ team and grow ahead of the system. And I take it seriously when we have our franchise owners who are investing a large amount of money, right? A lot of their savings to meet their dreams. And that's important to me to do the best we can for, every single person in the system. And ultimately that's how I kind of stumbled upon it, I would say, and have tried to be an avid learner since and learn from those that have gone before us, and to be the best we can be in our space.
That's it. And plenty of people have gone the route. They've done well, and that's kind of the point I wanted to drive home, is that there's no one size fits all. There's no right or wrong, which is better, which isn't. It depends on how you want to expand. It depends on what you're looking to do. It depends also on the brand itself. Some of the brands geographically don't work in certain areas due to climates, and other variables. So, or how spaced out the, is it highly populated? Is that do you have that density like you have in New York City?
Right.
Or, is it just kind of spread out? So there's a lot of things to factor in, and there's no right or wrong. Kind of figure out and work with someone to figure out how you're looking to expand, get educated on the different options to see kind of which is the best fit for you. When this is actually something I found interesting, and I'd be curious on your thoughts. So, I don't remember the podcast, but the important part here is that they were interviewing the IFA president, current president, and the question that came up, they did a poll, why people, does the general public have interest in franchise ownership? Right. So they did a major poll, and this is interesting to me, very interesting in this day and age. 75% of people came back and said, yes, I have explored or have an interest in franchise ownership. 75%. That's 3/4 of the people.
Yeah, that's bigger than I would expect. That's amazing.
and I couldn't tell you all the details and if that was across the country, but it sounded like a national poll. In that number, this is the interesting part. So of the people, that group of 75% that said, yes, we are interested, 75% of them, another three quarters came back and said, why didn't you start? And there were plenty of reasons, but the most common 75% of the reasons were, we didn't know where to start. And they dropped it. What advice would you have to someone who is, and most, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, most of our listeners and viewers are corporate executives, are military veterans. We find out is actually a pretty large percentage here that are listening in. What advice would you give to someone as to where to start? Because that was actually concerning to me, at least, because in this day and age with podcasts and the internet and technology, free information, you would not think that would be the number one reason. So I wanted to get your feedback and your advice.
Yeah, well, it's a great question. And that's a great stat. I love knowing that, because franchising is a powerful model. Like now, it can work very well if the pieces are all aligned. So I'm really thankful for it as a business model and a concept. And I think for all those listening, 75% of you are interested, probably more because you're on this podcast, right? So what is the next step? Absolutely listen along. And I think franchising is not for everyone, right? Like you said, you have to want to come in, follow a model, be profitable, right? And have a nice family business that you can then scale and become empire builders and all of the like. But I think that's what I see as my important, is make sure we're rewarding the right candidates. But going back to your question for this, talk to you. Talk to Giuseppe. Google, research, right? Learn about franchising and find a brand. I think someone like Giuseppe can tell you, right? You come to him like, hey, I'm interested in opening a business. What do I do? He's going to say, okay, what are you interested in? How much money do you have to spend? Where do you live, right? And help you navigate to figure out, oh, I should look at these 3 brands or these 5 brands. Maybe you love one, maybe you love none, and you go back and say, hey, my investment's actually higher. I want to look at bigger businesses. I want to look at brick and mortar, non-brick and mortar. I think he is so well set up, and individuals like him to help you, right? To help you navigate what is that next step. When you want to buy a house, you go to a broker, right? You say, hey, I want to do this. So I think that is a really good avenue to figure out what is the right one for you. I would say to anyone, take the next right step, right? Just keep moving. Figure out what it is you want to do with your life. I can say from experience, it is hard to leave a good job. It's hard to leave corporate America and the stability, but like, oh my gosh, it's so much better on the other side. Like quality of life and flexibility. I can take my kids to school every morning, and you can fit in a kickboxing class at noon every day. Whatever is your thing, right? Married, not married, kids, not married, young, old. There is a lot of life to be lived outside of corporate America if it's for you.
Right.
But you may find, hey, it's not for you too. And all that's part of the journey and the discovery that I think we're all on. But I would say take the next right step, right? Kind of learn more, figure out if you're that 75% of the population. You don't want to leave that stone unturned and be like, hey, I always wanted to learn more, but I never, took the initiative to actually learn more about it. So I would say reach out and see if then franchising could be a good fit. And then at least you'll know. You will not be the 75% of the 70% that never acted on it.
Starting is one thing, but succeeding is another. Next, in the Franchise Freedom Podcast, we reveal the 3 secret ingredients that every successful entrepreneur needs to thrive: passion, process, and profit.